Welcome to my channel, the Bookworm Club. Today I'm going to do an audiobook, The Personality Potion. Please listen to this video till the end. Personality Potion, written by Alan MacDonald. Kit Can Kid Detective. Danny Doolan was doing what he liked best. He was curled up in his bed reading. He had a chocolate fudge bar he had been saving all day. Fudge bars were his favorite. The bedroom light was off. He was using a torch under the covers to read his new library book. It was called Kit Can Kid Detective. Kit was on the trail of the gangster, Slugs Malloy. Slugs had kidnapped Kit's girl, Susie, and taken her to a meat factory. He was about to put her in the mincing machine. Unless Kit got there soon, it would be too late. Susie would be served as meatballs. Suddenly, the door burst open. "Danny, what do you think you're doing under there?" It was Danny's mom. She switched on the light. Danny stuck his head out. He blinked like a mole coming out of its hole. "Nothing, just reading." "But it's only 6:30. It's nowhere near your bedtime." "I know. I just want to finish my book." "Why don't you go out? Call for one of your friends." "I don't want to. I'm busy." "Why don't you go over to the park? Go and play football or something." "Oh, Mom, I would rather stay here and read." His mom gave him one of her looks, the look that meant you're not normal. His parents were always saying stuff like this. "Why don't you behave normally?" or "It's not normal for a boy of your age." Danny couldn't help it. He didn't want to go and play football in the park. He preferred to watch telly or read his book, especially if the book was good as the Kit Can Kid Detective series. His mom tried one last time. "You can't spend your life hiding in your bedroom, you know." "Why not?" It's not normal." She sighed heavily and shut the door. Danny got up and turned off the light. In the dark, he pretended he was Kit Can sneaking into the factory to save Susie. He crawled on his hands and knees towards the bed. "Okay, Slugs, this is the end of the line," he drawled in an American accent. He dived on his pillow and wrestled it to the floor. In the fight that followed, his fudge bar got a bit squashed, but it was all in the line of duty. The empty seat. The next day started badly. The bus to school was crowded. His best friend Sparrow waved to him, but the seat next to him was taken. The only spare seat was next to Duncan Wicks. Wicks was in the ear above, and Danny always kept out of his way. He had seen Wicks pick on younger kids in the playground. He made them hand over their sweets or drinks. If they argued, Wicks gave them a wrist burn. He gripped their wicks hard and twisted their hands until they cried out. Danny bet it really hurt. Danny pretended he hadn't seen the empty seat, but Wicks had seen him. "There's a seat here, Specs. I'm not going to eat you." Danny sat down. He hated being called Specs. Wicks didn't move along, so Danny had to perch on the edge of the seat. Wicks pointed to Danny's bag. "Got your lunch in there?" "No," Danny lied. "I have school dinners." Wicks nodded. He pretended to be looking out of the window. Then he made a grab for Danny's bag. Danny held on, but Wicks punched him on the arm. Danny bit his lip to stop himself from crying out. "Let's then have a look," said Wicks, unzipping the bag. He took out Danny's lunchbox and said, in a dumb voice. Well, I never. Sandwiches. Your mom must have forgot you have school dinners. Everyone on the bus was looking over now. Danny saw Laura Mills. Laura was in his year. With springy black hair and dark eyes, she was just the kind of girl Kit Kat would have as his girlfriend. Wicks was sniffing Danny's cheese sandwiches. He turned up his nose and went to put them back. Then he spotted the fudge bar at the bottom of the box. "This'll do, thanks, Bex," he said, pulling off the wrapper. "That's mine, give it back," said Danny hopelessly. Wicks grinned and took a big bite. Not bad, Specs. You can bring me another of these tomorrow." Danny turned away. In his imagination, he pictured what would happen next if he was Kit Kat. Kit stood up and pulled Wicks out of his seat by his jacket. "Why don't you pick on someone your own size, dog's breath?" he drawled. "Don't hurt me," stammered Wicks. Kit swung Wicks round his head 3 times and let go. Wicks flew through the air and landed in the lap of a surprised old lady who bashed him with her umbrella. The whole bus cheered, but that only happened in Danny's imagination. In reality, Danny sat there staring out of the window. He knew his face had gone red. He felt stupid and helpless. Sparrow ran after him as they went into school. He was the smallest boy in the class and always seemed to be running to keep up. "Hi, Dano. I saw what Wicks did to you on the bus," he chirped. "Yeah, he's just a big bag of beef. Yeah. I bet if anyone had the guts to stand up to him, he would cry like a baby," said Sparrow. Danny stopped suddenly. "I didn't see you being so tough." Sparrow looked surprised. "What could I do? I was only saying." "Yeah, well, don't say unless you're going to do something. That's the trouble round here. No one ever does anything." Sparrow went away to hang his coat up. He looked hurted. Danny didn't know why he said that. He was just felt angry inside, angry with Wicks, angry with himself for looking stupid in front of everyone else. Danny's teacher, Miss Morgan, had some news for them. Anyone who wanted a main part in the school play could come to the audition next Monday. Danny didn't usually take any interest in the school play. Once in his first year, he had been a sheep in the Christmas play. All he had to do was go "Bah!" and lie down to sleep. But this year, the play was called Bugsy Malone. It had music and songs, and best of all, it was about gangsters. Danny listened spellbound as Mrs. Morgan told them the story. He began to imagine himself in the part of Bugsy. He would borrow his dad's old suit and wear a hat pulled down over one eye. He would chew gum and talk in his Kit Kat accent. By the time Miss Morgan had finished talking, Danny knew he would be perfect for the part of Bugsy. It was a great idea, but it wouldn't work, mainly because he knew he hadn't the nerve to try for the part. The thought of standing up in front of everyone made him feel sick inside. The potion. On the way home from school, Danny stopped at Uncle Hall's. Uncle Hall was an inventor. This meant spending hours out in his garage making a noise. The only trouble with Uncle Hall's inventions was that they never got finished. He always said that they need a little fine-tuning. Then he forgot all about them and started on something else. Danny had liked the self-sucking straw, which made milk bubble by itself. The underwater chess set had been another good idea, but Uncle Hall couldn't remember where he had put it. His garage was crammed to the ceiling with old pipes, tubes, boxes, bottles, and funny smelling powders. He spent most of his time looking for things among the chaos. Danny banged 3 times on the garage door. It lifted up, and there was Uncle Hall, wearing a pair of purple glasses. The glasses had 2 small light bulbs on top of the frame. Uncle Hall touched a button behind his ear. The glass lit up. Clever, huh? What do you think? He asked. They're amazing, said Danny. What are they for? Seeing in the dark. Uncle Hall shut the garage door behind them. He turned off the lamp on his workbench. Now, imagine there's a power cut and you haven't got a torch. You switch on your light switch and presto! You can see. Can I try them? Asked Danny, taking off his own glass. Danny switched on the light specs. All I can see is 2 blobs of light. They hurt your eyes, he said, disappointed. I know, said Uncle Hall. They still need a bit of fine tuning. He switched the lamp back on and started to take his invention to pieces. So, how was school today? It stank, said Danny. Usually sink or anything special? There's a kid called Wicks. He picked on me on the bus today. He's about 10 times the size of me. He punched me and stole my fudge bar. A big time crook, huh? Yeah, and you know what I did? With the whole bus watching, I sat there and did nothing, like a dummy. Very sensible, I would say. Never take on a bully 10 times your size for the sake of a fudge bar. After all, when did a fudge bar ever fight for you? Danny shrugged. That wasn't the worst thing. They're going to do this play at school. It's called Bugsy Malone, and it's about gangsters. Uncle Hall raised one eyebrow. So, what's so bad about this play? Nothing, it's great. I would like to be in it. I really want to be Bugsy, but I can't. Why not? I won't be able to do the audition. I'll be so nervous and I'll stammer like an idiot. No one's going to pick someone like me to play Bugsy Malone. Uncle Hall put down the light specs and looked at Danny. So you don't think you can't get the part? Danny nodded miserably. Well, come and see me on Sunday. I'll take some work, but I might be able to help. Uncle Hall wouldn't say any more. He tapped his nose and said, Sunday. Danny thought about it all week. What could Uncle Hall do to help him get the part of Bugsy Malone? Early on Sunday morning, he rang Uncle Hall's doorbell. Uncle Hall showed Danny into the garage. Ready? He asked. Danny nodded. He hadn't any idea what was going to happen. Uncle Hall fetched 2 test tubes. In one was an inky green liquid, in the other some white powder. He measured a little from each carefully into a bottle. What is it? Whispered Danny. Something I've been working on all week. I call it my personality potion. Personality potion? Danny's eyes widened. What's that? It brings out the hidden talents that no one knows are inside you. You'll see. Uncle Hall mixed the potion in the bottle. It frothed and fizzed. held it up to the lamp. The potion seemed to glow in the light as it was full of stars. Danny took the bottle and looked at it in wonder. You mean this can help me get the part in the play? You'll be brilliant. But how do you know it really works? See for yourself. Try it tomorrow, said Uncle Hall. He opened the garage door. Danny went out into the bright morning light, holding the personality potion tight in his hand. Do I seem different? Waking up on Monday morning, Danny thought the potion must have been a dream. But there it was, on his bedside table, where he had left it the night before. He took off the lid and sniffed it. Then he took a small sip. The taste was sweet and bitter at the same time. Danny drank some more and let it slip down his throat. Jumping out of bed, he ran to look in the bathroom mirror. There was no doubt something had happened to him. His head didn't droop, and his eyes were brighter than usual. He didn't even feel worried about the day ahead at school. Danny sat next to Sparrow. On the bus, he could see Duncan Wicks on the back seat. He hoped that Wicks had forgotten about the fudge bar. Danny had one in his bag, but he didn't want to hand over it. Sparrow was chatting away about a place film he had seen on TV, but Danny found it hard to listen. He was wondering whether he looked different to other people. The personality potion was in his pocket, just in case he needed it again. He looked over at Laura Mills. Could she see any change in him? Do I seem different to you? He asked Sparrow suddenly. Sparrow blinked at him. I was telling you about the bit with the aliens. I know. I just wondered if I seem any different. Sparrow examined him. No, you have got green skin and 3 heads just as usual. At break, Danny and Sparrow talked about the school play. Sparrow said Mark Shaw would probably play Bugsy. Mark was the captain of the football team, and he got chosen for everything. Danny said he might even try for the part himself. Sparrow gaped at him. You play Bugsy Malone? Before Danny could answer, he saw Wicks. He was on the far side of the playground, and he was coming straight towards them. Danny didn't have any time to think. Quickly, he fumbled for the personality potion and took a drink. If it really worked, he desperately needed it now. A group of girls stood between Wicks and Danny. Wicks barged his way right through the middle, knocking one of them over. Danny just had time to notice it was Laura Mills before Wicks was on them. Specs, I've been looking for you. Oh, have you? What for? Where's my fudge bar? I told you to bring it today. He must have forgot, Sparrow said bravely. Who asked you, midget? Said Wicks, raising a fist. Sparrow ducked away. Wicks held out his hand to Danny. Fudge bar, Specs, you better have it. It's in my bag, said Danny. But there's one problem. Oh yeah? What? You can't have it. He was amazed at the words he had just spoken. It must have been the potion speaking. Wick's mouth was open, but nothing was coming out. "Say that again," he said at last. "I said it's my fudge bar. You can get lost." A crowd was gathering round them. Danny could see Laura and her friends at the front. No one had ever told Wicks to get lost before, and they wanted to see what would happen. Danny felt scared but also reckless. It was as if the potion had released a cork inside him. Wicks took hold of Danny's arm and started to twist. "You go and get it right now, Specs." "Sorry, no. I think you should lay off the sweets, Wicks. Your teeth are going green." "What did he say?" "They're green. Everyone calls you Grotgums." The crowd laughed. They couldn't believe their ears. Here was quiet Danny Doolan standing up to the worst bully in the school. Wicks was furious. He started to twist Danny's arm harder. Danny felt as if it was on fire. Then he heard Laura Mill's voice out. "Let him go, Grotgums." Someone else took it up, and soon the whole crowd was chanting, "Grotgums, Grotgums." Wicks stared round at them, his face as red as ketchup. He liked to pick on younger kids when they were alone. He wasn't used to facing a whole crowd shouting at him. The noise had reached a teacher who was heading that way. Wicks let go of Danny's arm and ran off. Danny watched him go. It was incredible. He had stood up to Wicks and survived. The potion really worked. It changed him into a different person, someone who could say anything or do anything. People were staring at him in a new way. One of them was Laura. "Thanks for starting that," he said to her. Laura smiled. "Serves him right for pushing me. Is your arm okay?" Danny had forgotten his arm. "Yeah," he said bravely. "It just stings a bit." "What got into you?" asked Laura. "He could have murdered you." "I was sick of him. I had to do something." At this point the bell went. "Well, see you later," said Laura. "Are you going to the audition this afternoon?" Yes, I am," said Danny hastily. "In fact, I'm going to try for the part of Bugsy." He walked away feeling 2 meters tall. He had spoken to Laura Mills. After a whole year he had finally spoken to her. And she hadn't laughed at him. She had talked back. Then he remembered. He said he was going to the audition. Even worse! He said he was going for the main part, the part of Bugsy. How could his mouth have landed him in so much trouble?